In 1971, Pee Wee was arrested, tried, and convicted for drug trafficking and later tax evasion.
The judge said, Pee Wee Kirkland, you now face the United States of America. And he sentenced me to 15 years, no parole. You know, when you wake up in the morning shaking cereal boxes, you know, and to get the roaches to go to the bottom of the box, and you see the financial difficulties that your parents in, and you do know, it's clear that nothing is going to change because there wasn't a lot of people going to college and wasn't going becoming a professional player. Nothing was guaranteed back then, you know. It wasn't like I just wanted to be in life of crime. In my heart somewhere, I think I always wanted to be a professional basketball player, but I knew at the age of 13 when I made that choice to be in a life of crime, I knew then that I was making that decision that would one day catch up with me.
For Bob Love, his struggle to make it with the Royals continued. Cut and later re-signed, he was picked up in the 1968 expansion draft.
They sent me to the Milwaukee Bucks, and I've let them score into an exhibition season. I got a call from the general manager of the team. He said, Bob Love, we're gonna have to cut you. I said, cut me? I said, man, hey, I just led the team in scoring. He said, Bob, don't, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Bob. I said, you're a stutterer, you can't talk, and you've never been of use to the Milwaukee Bucks. It really hurt my feelings. I said, sir, can you please try to trade me to somebody? He said, well, maybe there's one team that might take you, Bob. The next day, I was traded to the Bulls, and it would put me in the game. And I would score 12, 15, 16 points. Dick Martin said, well, maybe this guy can score. Maybe this guy can play. I led the Bulls in scoring for 7 straight years. I led them in shots, taken shots, made everything. But the only problem is I couldn't talk. A good friend of mine invited me out to this Boy Scout luncheon, and he just wanted me to sign an autograph for the kids and shake hands with the parents. You know, so I got out there and said, man, no speech, man. Don't ask me to speak. I walked into this big room, and it must have been 3,000 kids with their parents. They were everywhere. And they introduced me that night as a special guest, Bob Love, #2 scorer in the NBA at that time. Everybody stood up, and they gave me a standing ovation. Then, all of a sudden, way in the background, I started hearing these guys holler at me. They were hollering, speech, Bob, speech, speech. Oh. My mind started running fast forward 100 miles an hour. I couldn't even see straight. And I stood up there for 3 minutes of it, and not one word came out of my mouth. It was the most embarrassing moment of my life. Walked outside there, got in my car. I cried. I just hurt. I was hurt and I was embarrassed. But after I got through crying, I got on my knees and asked the Lord to please help me find a way to speak. I didn't pray for love. I didn't pray for money. All I wanted to do was be able to speak.
For those players who couldn't make a career in the NBA, coaching was a way to stay in the game. But it could be much more stressful for blacks since there were fewer opportunities. Still, if you loved the game the way Ben Jobe and John Chaney did, you just couldn't stay away.
You waited for him. You've got to do something yourself. Intimidate. If you've been intimidated here, then you've done your job.
I became a coach because my role models were coaches, but I always looked at it from the standpoint of service, too. I would never go in for the money. I started coaching at Talladega College in Alabama, and my next coaching job was Alabama State, where I met my wife.
I had reached a stage where I'd been in the Eastern Professional Basketball League for about 9 years. And then, in order to stay on, I decided, well, all right, I'll coach. If they're gonna keep me, I'll coach and play. So this seemed like a perfect situation. But we didn't have clinics. You had to learn how to coach from trial and error. Black coaches didn't have the advantage of taking off and going to listen to other coaches talk about coaching and talk about their strategies and talk about how they organize teams. So your world becomes one where it's confined to what you can breathe, what you can feel, what you can see.
Coach McLennan taught us never use profanity. Coach never talks loud, and your players never use profanity or talk loud. And if you cannot communicate with just normal conversation, then you don't need to be on a team.
Rudyard Kipling once said that winning and losing are both the same. Too much of one or too much of the other. They're both masters of deception.
Coach McLennan always told us there's only one thing worse than losing, losing, losing. That's winning, winning, winning. You're gonna make the same enemies. The same enemies.
In 1968, Ben Jobe was on his way to coach at South Carolina State, one of the oldest historically black colleges in the country.
South Carolina State is the only black state-supported school in South Carolina.
A local hot prospect was a high schooler by the name of Delano Middleton. He was an extraordinary all-around athlete, but basketball was his love. And his plan was to attend South Carolina State the next year.
He was my mentor. He played basketball, football, track, and he just kind of hung out at the college gym. That was his passion, to play college basketball. He wanted to play here at South Carolina State.
And at Orangeburg, South Carolina, tear gas and fire hoses were used at midday to break up marching Negroes who defied a recently passed city ordinance.
Orangeburg students had a tremendous, what we call, protest tradition. They had been protesting from 1956. They protested in 1960. They protested in 61, 63. And all around the issue of segregation, around the lack of opportunities, racial discrimination, all those kinds of issues are the kinds of issues that they had going on.
Students are demanding that Negro Americans be seen as full citizens, full participants in our society.
What happened in Orangeburg in February of '68 really started around the desegregation of the local bowling alley.
Mr. Floyd, why have you not permitted Negroes to bowl at your bowling alley here in Orangeburg?
Because I have my own customers that patronize me 52 weeks a year. I haven't caused anybody else any trouble. I don't know why these people want to cause me trouble.
The youth chapter of the NAACP decided that what they were going to do was boycott a bowling alley that 4 years after the 1964 Civil Rights Bill had a sign up saying white only.